All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions. This one is called Mark Sanchez Just Ruined His Life. Let's get into it, man. What the happened with Mark Sanchez this weekend, man? What happened, bro? How did this happen? It's crazy. Let's get into it.
Quarterback and current Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez facing a battery charge after a stabbing incident in downtown Indianapolis.
Based on what we have so far, for one, I want to just say I'm glad Mark is okay, but obviously I think alcohol plays a huge part in this situation.
The Mark Sanchez situation is by far one of the craziest stories I think I've ever heard in quite some time. I mean, what if I told you that one of the NFL's most recognizable media personalities went from being a victim of a stabbing to facing potential jail time and career destruction in less than 24 hours? And what if I told you that the surveillance footage would completely flip the script on a story that initially had the entire sports world sending prayers and well wishes? And what if I told you all of this happened because of a dispute over cooking oil? I mean, this is one of the weirdest and wildest stories I think.
See, now this one say cooking oil. They were saying over a parking spot. Man, let's get to the bottom of this.
I've covered on this channel. For those of you guys who don't know, Mark Sanchez is a name that's been floating around the NFL world for nearly 2 decades now. The guy was USC's golden boy back in 2008, leading the Trojans to a Rose Bowl victory and putting up 413 passing yards and 4 touchdowns in that game. He was so good that the New York Jets couldn't resist drafting him 5th overall in 2009, even though the legendary Pete Carroll famously said that he needed more experience. And you know what? Originally, the Sanchez delivered early on. He did something that only one other quarterback in NFL history had done right before him. He led the Jets to back-to-back AFC championship games in his first 2 seasons. That's right, the same franchise that's been a punchline for decades was knocking on the door of the Super Bowl because of Mark Sanchez. Sanchez finished his career with 15,357 passing yards, 86 touchdowns, and 89 interceptions over 10 seasons. But here's the thing about Mark Sanchez's career: if you say his name to any football fan, they probably aren't thinking about those near Super Bowl runs. They're thinking about one specific moment, one play that became so infamous it literally has its own Wikipedia page. I'm talking about the butt fumble. Thanksgiving night 2012, the Jets are getting embarrassed by the Patriots on national television, and Sanchez takes a snap, gets confused on the play, and decides to just run it himself. What happens next is just pure comedy. Sanchez runs full speed into the backside of his own offensive lineman, Brandon Moore, fumbles the ball, and watches helplessly as the Patriots scoop it up and return it for a touchdown. The collision generated over 1,300 pounds of force, which is more than 10 times what's needed to cause a fumble. This play in of itself became a measuring stick for NFL embarrassment, and honestly, that kind of play defined the rest of Sanchez's career. Mark Sanchez would never last with the New York Jets. He would bounce around the league, leaving New York, spending some time in Philly, Denver, Dallas, Chicago, and Washington, and really never fulfilled his potential as a high draft pick for the New York Jets. So once he retired, his redemption story kind of began. After retiring in 2019, Sanchez made the transition that so many players dream about. He became a broadcaster. He started with ESPN and ABC for 2 years before Fox Sports scooped him up in 2021 as a game analyst. And honestly, he was pretty good at it. He brought insider knowledge, he could break down plays, and he had that natural charisma that works on TV. Sanchez had really built himself a nice post-playing life. He's married to actress Perry Matfield, who you might recognize from shows like Shameless, and they just welcomed twin daughters in March of this year. He's got a son named Daniel from a previous relationship who is actually a groomsman and ring bearer at their 2023 wedding in Mexico. The reason I'm bringing this up is Mark Sanchez's life, despite not really having the career he wanted to, is pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Shit, your goddamn wife playing Shameless and shit, that show's pretty big. You know what I'm saying? You got a nice family, you're doing it up, you're NFL analyst. Shit, you doing it up. And you was in town to fucking do the game, and what the fuck happened, bro? It had to be liquor, bro.
Fumble was just an embarrassing moment that was in the rearview mirror at this point, and Sanchez had successfully reinvented himself until last weekend. On Saturday, October 4th, 2025,
all right, here we
the
go.
sports world woke up to shocking news.
Here we go.
Reports started flooding in that Mark Sanchez had been stabbed in downtown Indianapolis and was in critical condition at a local hospital. He was in town to work the Raiders versus Colts game for Fox, and suddenly he's fighting for his life. Fox Sports released a statement saying Sanchez was in stable condition and asking for privacy, and everyone assumed the same thing, that Sanchez was the victim of some random act of violence. And
that's exactly what I thought. And I think everybody thought it when we woke up. Everybody like, what the fuck? Mark Sanchez got stabbed? Oh, shit, oh, shit. It was like one of those build-ups throughout the day as more information came out. You was like, hold on, wait, what the fuck? Now this shit is getting weird.
Thank God he was okay. The entire sports world rallied around him. His former team, the Jets, tweeted out, "We're sending out our thoughts and love to Mark Sanchez and his family, hoping for a speedy recovery, 6, using his old jersey number." Former teammates sent well wishes. Fans were genuinely concerned. And then just hours later, everything changed. Indianapolis police dropped a bombshell. Not only was Mark Sanchez not the victim, but he was being arrested right there in his hospital bed while still recovering from stab wounds. Mark Sanchez was arrested on 3 misdemeanor charges: battery with injury, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication. Wait, what? How do you go from being a stabbing victim to being arrested for battery? And this is where the story gets absolutely wild. And honestly, this is where you need to stick with me because the details that came out are so crazy. I mean, you can't even make this up. Here's what really went down that night.
All right,
Remember, we
what
now
really
have
went
video
down?
surveillance from that night, plus 2 witness accounts that paint a very vivid picture of what
Damn. That's crucial. Video surveillance and 2 witnesses. So, all right, this got to be, if he got all the details, we finna find out the truth. Let's hear it. Let's get to the bottom of this right now.
happened. So it's about 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, October 4th. A 69-year-old truck driver is just doing his job. He works for a company that exchanges commercial fryer oil, and he's in an alley between the Westin Hotel and the Indianapolis Marriott downtown, collecting used cooking oil from the hotels. Just a normal night at work for this guy. Then out of nowhere, surveillance footage shows Mark Sanchez jogging into the alley and approaching the old man's box truck. According to the probable cause affidavit, Sanchez appeared to be intoxicated, smelled of alcohol, and was slurring his speech. The truck driver said that Sanchez started telling him that he couldn't park there, that he'd spoken to a manager about it and the truck needed to move. The driver, who didn't even recognize who Sanchez was, tried to explain he was just doing his job, but Sanchez wasn't having it. This is where things escalate. Court documents reveal that Sanchez actually climbed into the cab of the truck, leaning over the driver's seat despite the driver repeatedly telling him that he wasn't allowed in there. The 69-year-old truck driver tried to get away, and he tried to flag down hotel security, but Sanchez kept following him and kept blocking him from getting back into his truck. The surveillance video, which closely matches the victim's account, shows Sanchez grabbing the driver and throwing him up against a wall.
69 years old. This is a 70-year-old man that this nigga's harassing.
At this point, the 69-year-old realized he was in serious danger. This is a former professional athlete, 38 years old, in much better shape and clearly not thinking straight. The driver reached for his pepper spray and sprayed Sanchez directly in the face. For a moment, it seemed to have worked. Sanchez paused, wiped his face, but then, and this is the most chilling part, he kept advancing towards the driver. That's when the driver thought, and I quote, "This guy is trying to kill me." So he pulled out his knife, and when Sanchez came at him again, he stabbed him 2 or 3 times in what he believed was self-defense. The driver said he found himself flying back into a dumpster, convinced this was a life or death situation. According to the affidavit, Sanchez then had a look of shock come over his face before he took off running. The driver was left with a laceration on his left cheek that went completely through and hit his tongue. Meanwhile, Sanchez bleeding from multiple stab wounds to his upper torso would eventually be found by police near Law Miller's Pub and Eatery. And this is where it gets crazy. When police interviewed Sanchez at the hospital, he told him he could barely remember anything. He said all he could remember was grabbing for a window and that he didn't know who stabbed him or where it happened. But here's the problem for Sanchez. There were multiple surveillance cameras, and there was even a witness who saw the whole thing go down. Someone sitting in a nearby car who reported seeing 2 men recording each other with cell phones before the fight began. The Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears released a statement that perfectly captures how absurd this situation is.
Wait, so the old man recorded this? He got it on his phone? He said they both was recording each other. I wonder if if there's a phone video.
He said, quote, "This incident should have never happened. What began as a disagreement between a 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured." But here's a wild footnote to this story. When news first broke that there was a stabbing in Indianapolis, Indiana's Governor Mike Braun and Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith immediately jumped on social media to blame the lack of public safety in Indianapolis, with Beckwith claiming the city was sliding into lawlessness. But once it came out that Sanchez was actually the aggressor and had attacked a 69-year-old man just trying to do his job, both politicians quickly deleted their tweets. Prosecutor Mears called them out, tweeting that the governor had attempted to exploit senseless violence for political gain without knowing any facts. Aren't politicians hilarious? So where does Mark Sanchez stand legally? Well, he's been formally charged with 3 misdemeanors: battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle. His initial hearing is scheduled for Tuesday, October 8th at 8:30 a.m., and his bond has been set at just $300.
$300 cash bond is crazy.
But we had a huge update to the situation, and this is where things get...
Wait, so nothing happened about the dude face? How did the dude get the laceration to his face? Because that's the part, like, what happened?
And worse for Mark Sanchez, and this just broke, so pay attention. On Monday, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears held a press conference and announced that the charges against Sanchez were being upgraded. He's now facing a level 5 felony battery charge for causing serious bodily injury in addition to those 3 misdemeanors. Let me repeat that. This is no longer just a misdemeanor case. Mark Sanchez is now facing a felony, and we're not talking about some minor felony here. A level 5 felony battery charge in Indiana can carry a 1 to 6 year prison sentence and a $10,000 fine. That's real prison time that we're talking about. So you might be wondering what happened. Why did they upgrade the charges? Well, after reviewing everything, prosecutors realized just how seriously injured that 69-year-old truck driver was. The prosecutor said that the allegations involve a 38-year-old man becoming involved in an altercation with a 69-year-old man who sustained significant and very serious injuries over a parking dispute. When asked to rate his pain on a scale of 1 to 10, the victim said it reached a 10. Remember, this man had a laceration that went completely through his cheek and hit his tongue. And Indianapolis Police Chief Christopher Bailey didn't mince words at the press conference when he said,
"I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable."
That's a pretty clear message that Mark
That's
Sanchez...
what they supposed to say, but you already know, man. Money talks, bullshit walks. Money talks, bullshit walks. Y'all know this ain't gonna get a slap on the wrist. They gonna sweep this shit under the rug or some shit.
Sanchez's celebrity status isn't going to help him here. The bigger concern for Sanchez might not be the legal penalties, but what this means for his career. Fox Sports has been notably quiet since the arrest. Their only statement came before
Oh, they gotta get rid of him. They gotta get rid of him. He's the motherfucking what? He's the antagonizer, nigga. What? You're drunk. You know what I mean? Like a 69-year-old. Like, that's not good for the brand, Fox Sports. That's not good for your brand. They're gonna have to dump you, or they're just gonna have to put you on the sidelines for, you know, till the smoke clears. You know what I mean? For a couple of seasons or something.
Knew Sanchez was being charged when they were still treating him as a victim. On Sunday's pregame show, Fox's Kurt Menefee addressed the situation.
Friday night in Indianapolis, one of our team members, Mark Sanchez, was involved in an incident that, to be honest, we're all still trying to wrap our heads around. At this time, our thoughts and prayers are with Mark, his family, and all those involved.
Brady Quinn stepped in to replace Sanchez for Sunday's Raiders-Colts broadcast. And the question everyone's asking is, will Sanchez ever get the job back?
Hell no.
Look, the reality is that Fox Sports and any major network has to consider their brand. This is a network that's still trying to recover from the Joy Taylor controversy.
Exactly. That's why they can't play right now. Hell no. Like, you beat up a 69-year-old. Well, you know what I'm saying? You harassed a 69-year-old, bro. And when those pictures surfaced, I did see them on, I think Say Nash posted them. Those pictures surfaced of how his face looked and all that shit. A 69-year-old, people are going to look at you like a villain, bro, for sure.
which we made a video on about 3 months ago if you guys want to check it out. But they obviously can't have an on-air personality who's facing charges for allegedly attacking a 69-year-old man while intoxicated. Even if Sanchez beats these charges or pleads them down, the video footage exists, the story exists, and in today's social media world, that stuff doesn't just disappear. We've seen networks part with talent for far less. And here's the thing, Sanchez was already fighting against the legacy of an embarrassing video in the form of the butt fumble for his entire broadcasting career. And to be honest, he'd done a good job of moving past it, of showing he had some value beyond being a punchline. But this is potentially career ending. Some people are saying this is worse than the butt fumble. At least that's
way worse. How do you get so drunk that you're out here for work for Fox Sports, you're out here football game next day, you get so drunk that you walk down an alley and get into it with a 69-year-old man retrieving used oil because he's parked in the wrong spot and you're trying to tell him he can't park here? Why is that even your business that he's parked right there? Why is that even your business? Why do you care? It's not your city. This is not your establishment. This isn't your business, your place of business. Why are you even tripping on this nigga parking right there? That shit don't make no sense.
just a bad football play. This is allegedly attacking an older working class guy who is just trying to do his job in the middle of the night. The optics couldn't be worse. Now let's talk about the human element here. Mark Sanchez just became a father to twin girls 7 months ago. He's got a family, he's got a career, he's rebuilt from scratch. And in one night of what appears to be terrible decision making while under the influence, he's thrown it all into jeopardy. What makes the story even more bizarre is just how avoidable it all was. If Sanchez had just stayed in his hotel room, if he hadn't been drinking to the point of public intoxication, if he hadn't decided to confront a stranger about where they were parked, none of this happens. The 69-year-old driver doesn't get slashed across the face. Sanchez doesn't get stabbed. Fox doesn't have to scramble to find a replacement broadcaster. And most importantly, Sanchez doesn't potentially lose everything he's built.
And he about to get sued. I'm for sure, if I'm 69 years old, nigga, and I'm still working a job where I got to be at a job at 12:30 in the a.m., this is at midnight. Like, this nigga's out there at 69 years old doing a job collecting oil at 12:30 a.m. Nigga, I'm trying to get up out this motherfucker. I'm finna sue your ass, and I'm gonna win. I'm finna sue your ass.
Reports that Sanchez was even doing wind sprints in the alley before the incident, which paints a picture of someone who's clearly not in their right mind. Whether that's due to alcohol or some other substance or just a complete mental break, we don't really know yet. What we do know is that the video evidence apparently closely aligns with the truck driver's version of events, and that's not good for Sanchez. The prosecutor has made it clear that they'll follow the facts and the law wherever they lead, and right now, those facts don't look favorable for the former Jets QB. So where do we go from here? Well, Sanchez has a court date on Tuesday. Fox Sports needs to make a decision about Sanchez's future with the network. Though, let's be honest, with a felony charge now on the table, that decision is probably already made, and the court of public opinion has already largely turned against him. This might be the most dramatic fall from grace we've ever seen in sports media in years. And believe me, we've been covering a lot of falls from graces recently. Imagine if Shannon Sharpe got fired for his lawsuit, then what's going to happen to Mark Sanchez? We've gone from Sanchez being
exactly. If they fired this nigga for getting some pussy, what do y'all think they finna do for a nigga that stabbed or made a 69-year-old man face all slashed up and him getting stabbed and because you're drunk? What does that say about the brand that y'all gonna keep this guy around? They can't keep you around. Hell no. You're out of here, buddy. That's not even like, we all know that. Everybody know that. You're out of here, bro.
Victim deserving sympathy, to Mark Sanchez being arrested on misdemeanors, to now Mark Sanchez facing a felony that could send him to prison for up to 6 years. And the wildest part is this all happened within a span of 72 hours. One thing's for certain, Mark Sanchez's name will be in the headlines for all the wrong reasons once again. The butt fumble was embarrassing, but this could be career and life altering. And with the charges now upgraded to include a felony, we're not talking about a slap on the wrist anymore. We're talking about the very real possibility of Sanchez serving 1 to 6 years in prison. That's not probation, that's not community service, that's actual prison time. Think about that for a second. A guy who was on national television calling NFL games just days ago could be behind bars within a year if convicted. A father of newborn twins and a young son could be separated from his family. A successful broadcaster could lose absolutely everything because of one night of terrible decisions. The story is still developing, and I'll keep you updated as more details emerge, but right now, this has to go down as one of the most bizarre and unfortunate incidents in recent sports media history, from stabbing victim to felony defendant in less than 72 hours. It's a reminder that things aren't always what they seem, and that one night of bad decisions can unravel years of hard work and potentially cost you your freedom by Saturday night. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think is going to happen to Mark Sanchez? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
All right. Here's what I think is going to happen. Do I think he's going to go to jail? No, I don't think he's going to go to jail. Now, if he was an average Joe working a 9 to 5 and this, yeah, he'll probably get some jail time. This is celebrity right here, y'all. Like, y'all know they're going to get the best lawyer. They're going to get one of them top lawyers that's going to work a deal, that's going to get him a slap on the wrist, get him community service. Oh, and he probably not going to get community service. He ain't even from Indianapolis. I don't know what the fuck, but they're going to get him something special. It's not going to be what we would get, me and you. It's going to be one of those celebrity slap on the wrist things. You know what I'm saying? And then what is going to happen, the dude is going to sue, and they're probably going to settle out of court. Unless he's asking for something extremely crazy, which he should. At 69 years old, you coming at me and, nigga, I could use my age, all kind of shit. I'm scared for my life. Yeah, man, I'm going to hit you for something. Hey, I need 50 million, nigga. You and your wife, y'all rich, y'all got it. I'm going for the gusto. I need 50 million. Now, I can see, one thing I always see a recurring thing is when celebrities do some super drunk shit and they try to get out of it, they say, I fucked around. I was taking my prescription drugs and I mixed it with liquor and I shouldn't have did that and it made me do this. I can see him using like, oh man, I was off my prescription drugs and I mixed it with liquor and I didn't even think about it and this made me do it. They always find a way to like mix prescription drugs and I forgot and or it was an accident or I didn't know it was going to be this. And they get a slap on the wrist, man. But we're going to see. Let me know what y'all think is going to happen in the comment section. I'm going to give y'all 2 seconds to smash the like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.